He poisoned the only thing my late wife left behind. He didn't know he had just triggered a biological revenge he couldn't stop. The smell hit me first. It wasn't the sweet, powdery scent of the Mr. Lincoln hybrid teas that I had spent 12 years coaxing out of the stubborn Georgia clay. It wasn't the earthy, grounding smell of mulch and morning dew. It was sharp, chemical, and acrid. It tasted like copper on the back of my tongue. I stood on my back porch, coffee mug suspended halfway to my mouth, staring at a scene that made my knees lock up and my stomach drop through the floorboards. My garden was dead. Not just wilted. Not just struggling from the heat. It was black. The 12 bushes that lined the cedar fence, the ones Elena had planted the spring before the cancer took her, were shriveled, oily, and twisted into agonizing shapes. The leaves had turned a bruised purple-black, crunching into dust the second a breeze touched them. The blooms, which had been vibrant red yesterday afternoon, were hanging like rot on a vine. I walked down the steps, my boots crunching on the grass. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I felt a cold, hollow vacuum opening up in the center of my chest where my heart used to be. I touched the stem of the prize-winning bush on the far left. It snapped off in my hand, dry and brittle. "Morning, Hank. Shame about the flowers." The voice came from over the fence. It was loud, grating, and dripping with false sympathy. I looked up. Greg was standing on his deck, leaning over the railing with a smirk that he didn't even try to hide. Greg moved in 2 years ago. He's the kind of guy who buys a massive gas grill he uses once a year and blasts talk radio in his backyard every Sunday morning. He hated the bees. He hated the petals that blew into his pool. He hated me. "What happened, Greg?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Looks like blight," he shrugged, taking a sip from a travel mug. "Or maybe you just lost your touch. Old age comes for us all, right? At least now I won't have those damn bees swarming my guests this weekend." I didn't answer him. I turned around and walked back into the house. I went straight to my office and pulled up the Ring app on my desktop. I have a floodlight camera mounted on the back corner of the eaves. It covers the fence line. I scrolled back. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., there, 5:15 a.m., just as the sun was thinking about rising. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. A figure walked up to the fence on Greg's side. He was holding a pump sprayer, the kind you use for industrial pest control. He climbed up on a step stool. He didn't spray his side. He extended the wand over the fence, aiming it directly at the roots of my roses. He soaked them. He moved down the line with the efficiency of an executioner. He saturated the soil. I watched the video 3 times. I saved it. I downloaded it to a hard drive. I burned it onto a USB stick. Then I walked next door. I rang the bell. Greg answered, still wearing that smirk. "You sprayed them," I said. I held up my phone, showing him the freeze frame of him holding the wand. "I have you on camera, Greg. That's Roundup. Or something worse." Greg's smile didn't falter. He stepped out onto his porch, closing the door behind him so his wife wouldn't hear. "That?" He laughed, a short, sharp bark. "I was spraying for weeds on my side. The wind must have carried it. You know how the wind is. Tricky stuff. There was no wind at 5 a.m., Greg. You leaned over the fence. You killed Elena's garden." "Prove it," he hissed, stepping into my personal space. His breath smelled of stale coffee and aggression. "Prove the wind didn't carry it. You can't. It's my word against a grainy video. And honestly, Hank, I did you a favor. Those things were an eyesore. Plant something else if you care that much. Just make sure it doesn't drop leaves in my pool, or I'll kill that too." He slammed the door in my face. The sound echoed in the quiet cul-de-sac. I stood there for a long time, staring at the wood grain of his door. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from the effort it took not to put my fist through the panel. "Plant something else," I repeated to myself. I walked back to my house. I went to the garage. I sat on my stool and looked at the wall of framed degrees and certifications gathering dust. Henry J. Miller, Civil Engineering, Soil Mechanics Specialist, Structural Integrity Consultant. Greg thought I was just an old man with a watering can. He didn't know I spent 40 years calculating how the earth moves. He didn't know I spent my career understanding how root systems interact with foundations, how hydraulic pressure can crack concrete, and how invasive species can reshape a landscape if left unchecked. To watch full story, follow on-screen instructions.